So the question you asked is, how can you network with high status individuals if you're looking to elevate yourself and improve and get access to better people? Or maybe you go into a high-end nightclub and you see all those people at those really cool tables, and then you're out in the trough pit with all the other quote unquote losers, and you want to be able to elevate and go up there without spending all the money.
Yeah.
Problem is, everybody wants to be able to go and do that, and the people that are of that high status, they know that, and one of the main reasons they've paid that money is to separate from those regular people, because they like to feel that they're special, or at least that they don't want to get bugged or annoyed by other people. The reality is, human beings are just human beings. It's these visions that are put on us to make us believe that we're of a certain status or someone's of a higher status. They're not real. They're not actual. However, there is a perceived value. If you can hang out with these people, that you'll get a higher quality of person in your life. But it really is all perception. It's the idea that if this person's got a real high-end table, then the best potential people to date are going to be going over that way too, and if you can get there too, then you can interact with them and meet them and get with them. I found nothing is better than just being a real, regular human being to connect with anybody, no matter what status they are at any point in life. What's funny enough is, when I was living in the UK, I used to hang out in these high-end nightclubs, and I became really good friends actually with a band called The Streets. They had some really famous songs like Dry Your Eyes, Mate, and a bunch of other songs that were really cool back in the time. And we became friends because we would kind of like give them crap. Like we'd be hanging out with them, and they'd be going up on to have a speaking spot at the DJ booth or what have you. And I'm like, why are they asking you to go up there? Your music ain't that great. And they would start laughing about it, because of course, to them, some of their songs they think are amazing, some of their songs they think suck. But we would rip on them a little bit and just treat them like they were our friends, make it seem like it was absolutely normal. And they like that human element.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is, it's really hard to stay on a podium. And when everybody around you is pushing you up on that podium, the minute you make a mistake, it's like everyone's waiting for you to fail. And then the minute you do, they're like, oh, you're just a regular person. Whereas if you can start the interaction by just treating them like a regular person, and so they feel like you're normal with them, it makes it so much easier to have like a really good connection. I was actually at the airport a couple of days ago, and I bumped into a guy called Machine Gun Kelly, who's like a pretty famous musician, so I gather. I didn't know, because I didn't know who he was. But I sat talking to Machine Gun Kelly and his whole band and his whole crew for ages, because I didn't know who they were and I really didn't care. But we were all delayed at the airport, so we're just hanging out.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't care to the point that I didn't even take a picture with him, because it didn't mean anything, But my girlfriend was like, hey, that's Machine Gun Kelly. And I was like, it's a band. And they were stuck. And we were laughing about the fact that it was taking them so long to get us a new flight. But the point is, out of everyone around there that we were looking up to and wanted to talk to him, I was the one that they wanted to talk to, they wanted to hang out with and chat to, simply because I was so relaxed and normal about it. So the key here is to drop this illusion that they're high status, drop the illusion that you're in the trial pit with all the other, the other humans trying to elevate themselves. Everyone's just normal. And then it's all about just finding the right opportunity to start the conversation and talking to them like they're a regular person. And most of the time, this is going to be catching people before they get to a table. Catching people before they end up in the situation where they've already been separated, now their status is set. For example, when you're standing outside waiting to get inside, you're the same as everybody else, whether they're waiting for a table or for not a table. So the key is just treat them exactly like you would anyone else, but look for the opportunity to meet them in their regular, everyday environment. I actually have a friend that really wanted to start hanging out at these high-end, high-status nightclubs, but didn't have the money to do it. And so what he would do instead is he would go to wine bars on weekdays next to law firms. And what would happen is he'd hang out in a wine bar where it's only like $20 to buy a drink, and he would sit at a bar, get talking to some real high-end, lawyer type, and he'd talk to him about dating and about how he's really good at meeting women, and he's always looking for places to bring his women, but they don't want to go in the regular area of everyone else. They want to go on tables, but he can't afford to buy bottles. And the next thing you know, the lawyer's like, dude, I buy a bottle every time I go out. You're telling me you can bring 4 women and we can go and do this? Let's do it. And the next thing you know, he's got a high-powered lawyer. Now, the reason we pick lawyers specifically is lawyers are one of the only industries that cross-pollinate with every other industry. So for example, a business owner, a realtor, and even a professional musician would all need a contract lawyer. And so if you if you do your research right and you meet the right kind of lawyers, then it actually gets very easy to network and make something happen. I'll leave you with this. I spent a lot of time working in the entertainment industry, and most people don't realize that a lot of contracts for movies and people getting roles or what have you, they think it's through casting agencies or having a good agent, but more often than not, it's a high-powered lawyer that will get the job. Why? Because a casting agent is going to pick you based on talent, a lawyer is going to pick you based on whether you can pay their fee. And if you can pay the fee for the highest end entertainment lawyer, you're using the same lawyer as Brad Pitt, as Keanu Reeves, as these other people. And the minute you start paying their fee and hanging out with them, which, their fee's going to be astronomical, but it's still going to be within the range of a regular lawyer fee, about $5,000 an hour, give or take. And if you're willing to pay to play, and you'll pay for that lawyer once a month for 5 or 6 months, which is only an investment of about $30,000, but the next thing you know, you've got a lawyer saying to you, oh, you should work with this agency, and this is the gig you should be getting, and the next thing you know, you're in. And it's one of the ways to bypass the regular rules, which would, again, give you access to more high-status people.
Yeah. Well, for me, my problem is not necessarily, I never really viewed them as higher. I didn't know how to start the conversation in a way where you're not automatically perceived as someone in their eyes as seeing you as lower, or also how to even get to them, because sometimes they're roped off, or at a place where you can't really catch them.
Right, and that's why it's so important to catch them in a normal venue. For example, in a wine bar on a night where there's a big fight going on or a sports game, it's probably going to be on playing, and they're all going to be very happy to talk about that game. But you're in a wine bar where they're not roped off and they're just regular people, and then you can start a conversation about the game, and the next thing you know, you're having a good conversation, you've made a friend.
Got you. Okay, cool. That's helpful.
All right.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.